Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keegan and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be talking about 5 points that I took from the Gold Coast's first pre-season game against the Brisbane Lions. Off the top, point number one, the obvious point that everyone's probably been talking the most about the game is Sam Day's poor injury. Now, it's probably well known that Sam Day isn't a world beater, but through all of the injury crises we've had over the past 4 or 5 years, he's probably the one player that has probably been there the most. He's rarely out with injury, and when everyone else is falling down around him, he was the one that constantly stayed in the team. And now that he's finally had a massive preseason under his belt, and everyone else around him has finally started to put it all together, he's unfortunately the one that has had to go down with an injury. And it is such a horrific injury. At that point, it's a dislocated hip. It's, from what I read, it seems it's more of an injury that car crash victims have, where the leg joint falls out of the hip joint, and it's almost pushed up and then out, and so something that sounds so painful, and I feel nothing but sorry for the lad, because he's going to be out for the whole season. Which, on just a personal note for him, is horrible. He's going to be starting rehab very soon, and I wish him nothing but the best in his recovery. As far as the Suns go, it tests our depth for the season as far as key position players go. We've got Lynch and right up front, and we've got May and Thompson down back. So our key posts are pretty well covered, but if one of those four get an injury or get suspended, that's where it could really start to test us. And I don't think our tall depth outside of those four is very, very good. You got Jack Leslie, who is young still, but he hasn't shown me enough at the moment to warrant him being a potential player in that back line for us. So I'm not 100% sure. You've got players like Trent McKenzie who can play tall, but I'd rather not put him in that sort of position, because he's not big enough, and you get pushed around a bit too easily. So Sam Day going down is a massive hit for our depth. But if we can keep all our players fit, I don't think it's going to have that much of an adverse effect on our first team. But at the end of the day, this is a guy's career we're talking about. So Sam Day, if you somehow see this, I do hope you're the best. Please look after yourself, bud, and we hope to see you back next season. Talking point number 2 was Pierce Hanley. Now, he played a practice Q clash, if you will. I prefer to call it the pineapple grapple myself. But he played a practice game against his old club for the first time, and he was pretty good. The one thing I did, and if you watch my Supercoach series, I did mention this briefly, was he started right in the middle, in the center square at the ball, at the throw down, the ball ups in the middle of the ground. He was starting in that center square, so maybe that's a different position that the team has identified that he could move into, or it's something maybe because it's a preseason game, just throwing him around to see how it goes. But he did okay. He kicked an amazing goal against his old roommate Clay Beams, where he basically sold him a bit of foot candy. Clay Beams went across and he just lined up and kicked a goal. And out of all the Q clashes that I remember, he has dominated the most of them for Brisbane against us. So hopefully he can do the same for us against Brisbane this coming round 1, which is a massive game for us, because the Suns, after round 1 against Brisbane, which I would see as a Sun supporter, I'd see it as a winnable game, the next 3 weeks are really tough games. And so I would love to get off to start the season with a win, and Pierce Hanley could be a real key to that happening. Alright, talking point number 3 is Jared Grant actually kicked 3 goals against Brisbane on the weekend. Now, I love Jared Grant just for the simple fact that he is just such an odd looking guy, and I love that he has made a career playing football. There's talent there, and I've seen him before in the past. He's shown talent. He's shown bits and pieces of what he can do, but he's just never been able to put it together. Will this be the year he puts it together? Who knows? But if he keeps kicking 3 or 4 goals in preseason games, he's going to be throwing his name up for round 1 selection. He could be one that could possibly take that third tall role that might have been pigeonholed for Sam Day. Jared Grant could be someone that could be thrown in there as he's a bit more mobile. He's got a bit of X factor about him. He can kick the miraculous, but he can also just do make the very basic seem very, very hard too. So watch this space. I would think the club would hope that Grant can put a bit of form together to put a bit of pressure on that forward line. For me, he's probably not in my round 1 team, but over the next 3 weeks, he can probably prove to me, the rest of the club and the rest of the supporters, that he could be a possibility to play in that forward line come round 1. Point number 4. Aaron Hall had 33 touches and basically marshalled that midfield of Gold Coast against Brisbane. I'm not going to look too much into it because we all remember last season when he had 3 best on grounds at the start of the season when the Suns were up and about. They won their first 3 games, and then by mid-year, Aaron Hall had been dropped back to the Magoos because he wasn't doing the pressure acts and the tackling very well. And it's the kind of game that he would dominate because there wasn't a lot of physical pressure. It's a pre-season game. They're not going to go at each other too hard. Of course, unless your name is Jack Frost and you decide to tackle players after the ball's out of bounds and get a subsequent week suspension. But I digress. There was a sort of game that Aaron Hall would dominate because he had all the space in the world. He's got that pace. He can run up and back, and he gained like 850 metres overall. So he gained, through kicking and running and handballs, he actually gained 850 metres, which was the most in the round 1 of the preseason competition. So he had a major impact on the game. The question will be, can he hold that? Can he hold that talent and hold that ability and hold that form heading into the new season? It remains to be seen. He's not a favourite of my dad. My dad always blames Aaron Hall for all the Suns' problems. Once Maverick Weller left, Aaron Hall was the next person on my dad's bad books because anything that went wrong with the Suns, it was Aaron Hall's fault, according to my father. But if Aaron Hall can recapture that form from the first few rounds of last season and make it a bit more consistent across the whole season, then I am going to be very confident our midfield will be winning the majority of their midfield battles with Aaron Hall's pace and among the talent around that midfield that we will have this year. Point number 5, and probably my favourite point of all the 5 points I've talked about, is David Swallow, a guy that hasn't really been able to get on the field for the past 2 years. Came back, he played a half of football, and he actually looked like he was in relatively good touch. Now, I'm not expecting him to go out in round 1 to get 35 touches, kick 4 goals, because that hasn't never been his game to start with. And I don't think, at this point in time, he probably has the confidence in his body to do something like that. But from the half we saw, he got in and won a few hard contests. He got the ball, he kicked the ball, he dished off. He had pretty good disposal efficiency, a bit rusty at points, but pre-season, he's not going to be the only one out there. But it was really good just to see him get through a game and get through uninjured. Came off at just after half time. So he'd done his running, he'd done his workout, and hopefully that means coming this weekend against Essendon, he's probably going to be out there and he's probably going to be maybe playing a bit more, maybe 3 quarters instead of just the 2 and a bit quarters that he played this week. So continue to build him up into round 1 where he can hit the track running, and hopefully he can be a key factor in us getting a win over Brisbane in round 1. Well, guys, that's just a quick wrap-up of the talking points I had from the Gold Coast Brisbane pre-season game. Do let me know in the comments below if you have any other talking points you think I missed or anything you'd like me to discuss in the next Gold Coast pre-season video I do, which will be after the Essendon game coming up this week. It's in Mackay, so I can't see Essendon sending too strong of a team, and I can't see us sending too strong of a team. We've already know we've got Lynch out, Witts is going to be out, so there's 2 from last week that aren't going to be playing. But then we're going to get the likes of Sexton and Martin and possibly Hallahan into the team this week. So it'll give us a bit of a different feel in the midfield, different feel up forward, with Peter Wright also coming back, and he'll be the key target for us. So hopefully that game's going to be as entertaining as the Gold Coast Brisbane was, because I just miss seeing the Suns play. So any sort of football involving the Suns was going to be exciting to me. It wasn't the most high quality game, but it gave us a bit of a look into the future. And hopefully this week can be also as enjoyable, seeing some players that don't usually get to feature for the Suns do their thing on the field. Make sure you do like the video, subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos on this channel concerning Supercoach or AFL, or I might even throw up a gaming one here or there too, just to change it up. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.